Chapter 901, 901 Not Being Human Again, 6. 901 Not Being Human Again, 6. For a moment, Shiyu arrived at the rock venue and attracted the attention of various parties. Be it fellow preliminaries contestants, legendary contestants, or stronger totem life forms, they all paid attention to the situation in the rock arena. Under their gazes, Shiyu slowly walked onto the rock element arena. At the same time, he looked up at the huge beast on the other side of the arena. Can he win? It's difficult, unless he also contracted an overlord above his level. Although he's the number one person below the legend of Dong Huang, it's only a telepathy talent after all. Even if he contracted an overlord above his level, I think it's barely enough. There were discussions everywhere. It shouldn't be a problem, right? Luo Yi and Hylia said. There's definitely no problem, Annie, the overlord sprite of Tingxiang who had fought Shiyu, said. After all, Shiyu had already defeated her alone. Finally here. On Rongguang's side, when Lucille saw that Rongguang's level 6 beast tamer had no hope of passing the preliminaries, she had long paid all her attention to Dong Huang. Seeing that Shiyu, who had easily defeated her, had finally appeared, her expression relaxed. This guy, at this moment, the eldest prince of the demon nation, had a serious expression as he flew above the rock arena. In its opinion, the strength of this earth desolate bear was only SOSO, but Shiyu, he couldn't see through him at all. After learning that Shiyu was actually the strongest archaeologist in the 7 countries, he understood that his perception at that time was right. This guy's strength definitely came from a source. Next, he could finally see the strength of his pet. He didn't think that Shiyu wouldn't be able to pass the preliminaries. He only wanted to see how much of a threat Shiyu could pose to him in the main competition. Raw. World Tree Clone, legendary demigods, contestants of the 7 countries, totem clans. Under countless gazes, on the rock arena, the earth desolate bear roared. Roar. As long as someone stepped onto the arena, these elemental life clones would immediately attack. This also meant that the battle had already begun. Boom! The earth desolate bear, which was more than 10 meters tall, stood on the arena like a small mountain. Its rock-like body was incomparably heavy, containing the aura of history. A brown deterrence wave involuntarily released from its body. The incomparably terrifying overlord aura instantly spread, and a huge hole instantly appeared in the sky. Cracks appeared on the arena that was repeatedly destroyed and repaired under this strong deterrence. This was the starting move of the Guardian Overlord. Deterrence first. Although the level 6 beast tamers who came to Inatella were all elites among the level 6 beast tamers in the world, most people had already lost their ability to fight in the face of this deterrence. Transcendent level deterrence. Coupled with overlord level strength. If there were no overlord level pets in the team, it would really be difficult to resist. Its willpower would probably instantly collapse. At this moment, the deterrence of the earth desolate bear attacked from all directions. Shiyu stood in the arena without moving at all and looked straight at the earth desolate bear. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Why didn't he call his pet? Under normal circumstances, the challenger would have already summoned his pet outside the arena. Otherwise, just as he stepped onto the arena, he would also instantly summon his pet. Shiyu? It didn't look like it was going to summon a pet at all. Was he crazy? Without the help of pets to resist, with the weak physique of humans, they would probably be instantly defeated by this deterrence wave. Be it their bodies or minds, they would collapse. Boom! A huge deterrence aura completely enveloped Shiyu and the entire arena. Shiyu's short hair and clothes fluttered because of this. However, what made everyone open their mouths wide was that under the deterrence of a top-notch overlord, Shiyu's expression didn't change at all. He still stood in the arena without moving. It was as if this deterrence couldn't affect him at all. Weak. Very weak. At the moment, Buggy had mastered a deterrence that was enough to deter totem level. After its mental feedback, Shiyu's mental strength was almost immune to deterrence. For his overlord level physique, spirit, and quasi-totem level soul power, this deterrence was indeed not enough. Deterrence is ineffective against him? Before many spectators could react, Shiyu moved. Ignoring the deterrents, Shiyu's figure flashed. This speed was undoubtedly very fast, but life forms above the Overlord level could see clearly. However, it was precisely because they could see it clearly that they all revealed shocked expressions. Wait, what does he want? Moreover, how is this possible? Bodywork. Pure physical skills. On the arena, Shiyu purely relied on his physique that was strong enough to compare to an Overlord-level dragon to move. His body disappeared from the spot like an afterimage. His speed had even crushed most of the monarchs it had challenged previously. In an instant, Shiyu turned into a beam of light and ran out, leaving only the sound of wind exploding. His afterimage first moved on the arena. Then, like a broken line, he stepped on the ground and cracked it. He leaped up and instantly arrived in front of the Earth Desolate Bear with his small body. He jumped to the height of its head. Although he was fighting alone, Shiyu could be said to have no worries. After all, even if he couldn't defeat it, so be it. In any case, his pets could save the situation at any time. This big guy couldn't cause him any harm. Chapter 902, 902 Not Being Human Again, 7. 902 Not Being Human Again, 7. As the saying went, confidence was at the peak. Shiyu's battle without any worries directly erupted with incomparable potential. The Earth Desolate Bear's strength and defense were not weak. Speed was its disadvantage. In the previous battles, it had exchanged injuries for injuries and resisted the attack. Shiyu's speed still had some advantages. He directly punched the Earth Desolate Bear's face in midair. Boom! An incomparably terrifying sonic boom, accompanied by an extremely compressed fist wind, directly hit the Earth Desolate Bear's face. Cracks instantly appeared on the rock on its face, and its entire head leaned back slightly. Shiyu's punch actually injured the Earth Desolate Bear. Although it was only an extremely light scratch that couldn't even affect the Earth Desolate Bear, at this moment, all the lives watching this battle were instantly stunned. Initially, on Dong Huang's side, Divine Source Legendary, President Lin, and the others were still wondering why Shiyu didn't send his pets. Now, they realized that this damn child seemed to want to F*King do it himself. What the hell? Yixing, Divine Bell, and the others, who had arrived at the scene, also looked up at the arena in shock. They were all here to see Shiyu's performance, but in the end, Shiyu's actions directly made them unable to do anything. The contestants of the World Tournament who had challenged the Earth Desolate Bear previously were stunned at this moment. Their expressions were stunned as they doubted their eyes. Those overlords looked at their weak level 6 servants and then at Shiyu, who had injured the Earth Desolate Bear in one hit on the arena. White Brook was incomparably stunned. She felt that even if she entered the fusion state, she couldn't launch this attack. At the side, Lu Qingyi and Lin Xiaozhu were stunned by Shiyu's attack. Legendaries and demigods frowned together. Shiyu sensed the reaction force coming from his body and looked at the Earth Desolate Bear that had only suffered light injuries and instantly healed itself. He was extremely silent. As expected, with just physical strength, he could only be crushed by this guy? Roar! At this moment, after the Earth Desolate Bear suffered the attack, it was not affected at all. It angrily condensed the rock roar cannon in its mouth and swept it at Shiyu in midair. At the same time, the huge palm slapped at Shiyu. As for Shiyu, his movements were not restricted at all in the sky. In order to be agile, he directly maxed out his psychic power. At this moment, the air around Shiyu began to hum and vibrate. Substantial spiritual power formed a blue outline around Shiyu. It let him fly freely in midair. At this moment, Shiyu's pupils were instantly dyed in an incomparably deep blue. He raised his hand, and an ocean-like spiritual power instantly formed a torrent that intercepted the brown light pillar rock roar cannon. Under the impact of the rock roar cannon, Shiyu's body was quickly pushed in the sky, but the form of the rock roar cannon also kept distorting under the pressure of psychic power. Boom! Finally, under Shiyu's hard work, he suddenly raised his arm. The rock roar cannon directly changed the direction of the attack and was sent flying into the sky by Shiyu's psychic power. Until this moment, everyone had completely lost their ability to think. The beast tamers of the totem country were extremely confused. This is psychic power? Apart from his physical strength, the mental strength that erupted from Shi Yu's body again stunned many totems. It was fine if a human's physique was so strong, but why did he also master psychic power? This Shi Yu was also a mixed blood? No, there were not many hybrid beast tamers present. There were even hybrids who had reached the legendary level and mastered extraordinary power. However, all of them watched everything solemnly. This was no longer a matter of hybrids. This guy was a humanoid overlord ferocious beast. However, it's a super skill. The super skill of the Earth Desolate Bear. However, at the same time, the Earth Desolate Bear's huge palm also descended. This super huge palm that could flatten a mountain directly charged at Shi Yu. Shi Yu directly felt the threat of death from this huge palm. Even if he had the physical and mental strength of an overlord, due to the restrictions of humans, he could only scratch the top overlords like the Earth Desolate Bear. It couldn't cause any damage to the other party that could affect the outcome. Fortunately, he was sufficiently prepared. That's it? Under the pressure of life and death, the blood in Shi Yu's body boiled. An incomparable potential erupted from his body. Pseudo-overlord will activate. Because of the existence of the undying fruit and the mind domain, countless potential was also hidden in Shi Yu's body. At the same time, because he kept adding points, if Shi Yu was a transcendent life form, his willpower level would have long been tempered to the level of an overlord's will. However, what he lacked was a method to erupt with potential. With the help of Susu's memory water drop, Shi Yu studied for a day and took turns to understand the experience of 11 and the others erupting with overlord will. Now, he had some success. He could erupt with more potential. When the human body broke through the limit, it could also be very dazzling. Boom! Shi Yu's strength was like the eruption of a small universe, like the opening of a genetic lock, constantly increasing. It was directly strengthened. Boom 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 boom. In the next moment, Shi Yu stood in the sky and punched out again. It smashed out of thin air. Suddenly, the air howled. The moment he punched, Shi Yu used his physical strength and mental strength to squeeze the air and create fist wind, forming a wind element move that combined into a terrifying air cannon. This move also took shape under his guidance through Ling. Fake wind element control. Through wind, it countered Earth. The air cannon was like a huge fist shadow several meters tall, displaying the extreme speed of light. As the white fist shadow moved, it directly emitted a vibration sound that resounded through the arena. Bang! The terrifying fist wind turned into a wind dragon and carried out a dragon roar, directly colliding with the huge palm of the Earth Desolate Bear. In the next moment, the pupils of the Earth Desolate Bear constricted. In an instant, countless traces of rocks eroding and shattering were instantly left on its palm and arm. Boom! The Earth Desolate Bear, which had defeated many monarchs and overlords, directly took a few steps back under the powerful fist wind. Its figure was swallowed by the surging and violent fist wind, and the entire arena rumbled. Unfortunately, the damage isn't enough. Again! Shi Yu sighed. Everyone revealed shocked expressions. The space where the demigods were suddenly trembled with the change in their mood. Impossible, this is a human? What exactly is he doing? Even the World Tree clone recovered its confused expression at this moment. It kept feeling that something was wrong with the way it unfolded. Chapter 903, 903 Son of the Stars. 903 Son of the Stars. At this moment, the overlords and totems present doubted their eyes. This human beast tamer named Shi Yu actually didn't send out his pet and walked onto the arena himself. He gave the Earth Desolate Bear with the strength of a top-notch overlord 2 punches. They were very certain that Shi Yu's self was not in a fusion state. The key was that the Earth Desolate Bear, which had displayed a domineering posture when facing opponents of the same level previously, was actually really forced back. The first punch looked like a scratch, but the second punch, the fist that swept spiritual power and compressed air, actually directly suppressed the super skill of the Earth Desolate Bear. The terrifying fist wind instantly swallowed the Earth Desolate Bear. Boom! The Earth Desolate Bear's 10-meter-tall body tilted backward in front of Shiyu's tiny body, making everyone in disbelief. I think Shiyu will have some trouble. The opponent is a top-notch overlord after all. Before the battle, the prediction owl had predicted this outcome for the beast tamer of Dong Huang. It didn't hide anything and told the teachers and students of Imperial Capital University about the results of its premonition, such as the old principal of Imperial Capital University, Yin Jingfan, and the others. However, at this moment, the old principal of Imperial Capital University, Yin Jingfan, Jiao Xian, and the others, were very confused. Their gazes were filled with confusion. With a rumbling vibration, they looked at the prediction owl. Was this what he meant by Shiyu being in a little trouble? If Shiyu sent his pet to obtain an advantage, it wasn't that they couldn't accept it. After all, Shiyu was the #1 person below the legend of Dong Huang. He should perform better than the level 6 beast tamers of the other 7 countries, but... Buzz! Just as everyone was shocked, the owl was also at a loss. In the next moment, the feedback of the premonition power made its level loosen a little. In the prophecy scene, it saw Shiyu himself being attacked by an overlord. It originally thought that Shiyu was already an arrow at the end of its flight and that his pets had all lost. Even if there was a deviation, the outcome wouldn't be good. In the end, it was told that Shiyu was fighting an overlord one-on-one. So, the problem wasn't the prophecy, but it. What's wrong with this human beast tamer? Under the confusion of the various factions, the Earth Desolate Bear lay on the ground and let out a roar that resounded through the world. Roar! The power of the Earth continuously surged into its body. The places where its body was shattered were repaired again. Moreover, deeper-colored rock armor kept superimposing on its body. Just as Shiyu had sensed just now, although his attack was already very strong and definitely not a problem to deal with ordinary overlords, one hit was not enough to deal with a top-notch elemental overlord. He had to continue attacking. If Shiyu had only serious punched just now, then now, he raised his arms and used consecutive serious punches. In a protracted battle, Shiyu couldn't compare to the Earth Desolate Bear, so he could only erupt. His current state was established on the foundation of will explosion, transferring the potential of totem-level ghost god Shiyu to his current human body. Under the enhancement of the totem-level potential and the overlord's will, his explosive power would temporarily exceed the limit. Boom 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 boom. Just as the Earth Desolate Bear's eyes caught up, in the sky, a violent fist wind that was like a rainstorm descended with violent natural power. I have to let you leave the ground. Under this attack, the weather in the sky changed, and dark clouds gathered. Shiyu's powerful mental strength had already affected the weather. Raindrops fell one after another, mixed in the fist wind, making the fist wind that filled the sky like a storm devour the Earth Desolate Bear again. Water-wind psychic combination skill. Roar! The expression of the Earth Desolate Bear, which was just about to get up, changed. It resisted with all its might. However, the descending fist wind was like a terrifying superstorm or a super tsunami that swept for thousands of miles. It contained fatal power. The moment it came into contact, the Earth Desolate Bear felt that its entire body had suffered countless impacts and was about to fall apart. Bang! It was suppressed back again and smashed back to the ground with a bang. The armor on its body shattered. In the arena, a huge pit appeared. Shiyu directly created an artificial lake with his psychic power. Whoosh! In an instant, the ground cracked, the arena rumbled, and a rainstorm descended from the sky. Scattered mental strength scattered in all directions, and the Earth Desolate Bear slowly sank into the newly formed small lake with a tragic expression. At this moment, every punch of Shiyu's affected nature because of his powerful superpower. His continuous attacks did not stop. After all, when his soul couldn't withstand such an eruption, he would wither, so he had to work hard. Crack! Under the influence of his superpower, the temperature of the rain that swallowed the Earth Desolate Bear first plummeted and instantly froze, turning it into an ice sculpture. Then, Shiyu's fatal attack followed and directly descended on the Earth Desolate Bear that had turned into an ice sculpture. The collision of ice and earth directly made the Earth Desolate Bear's defense even weaker, and its body shattered with a crack under the fist wind. This scene had completely exceeded the scope of people's understanding. Suppressing the Earth Desolate Bear? They widened their eyes. A beast tamer with the battle power of a top-notch overlord? Indeed, some mixed-blood beast tamers and beast tamers with special talent were also very strong in battle, but they definitely wouldn't exceed their level restrictions. How could Shiyu, a level 6 beast tamer, display overlord-level battle power? No matter how one looked at it, this didn't make sense. Chapter 904, 904 Son of the Stars, 2. 904 Son of the Stars, 2. Shiyu's attack made the spectators experience what it meant to be in a storm. They experienced what it meant to use pure physical and mental strength to trigger the power of nature. From a physical overlord to a spiritual overlord to an overlord that could trigger the power of nature, Shiyu directly crushed the Earth Desolate Bear crazily as if he wasn't human. Roar! When everyone reacted, accompanied by a wail from the Earth Desolate Bear, its body was already riddled with holes from the attack. Countless water-ice fragments flowed out of its body, and countless wind marks covered its body. Under the influence of various natural powers, it was mixed with the restrictions of Shiyu's psychic power. In just a moment, this huge monster gradually lost control of its body. It was very difficult to recover its body with the power of the elements. Its body was like a small mountain that had been blown up in front of the naked eye. It kept collapsing and shattering with a boom. In the sky, Shiyu's attack suddenly stopped. He took a deep breath and tried his best to adjust his strength. He was excited. This was the power feedback of the two mythical pets. Shiyu no longer dared to imagine how strong he would become when he contracted a team of mythical races. At this moment, seeing that Shiyu had really done it, totem after totem, overlord after overlord looked at the arena in disbelief. The legendary beast tamers of the 7 countries, the legendary beast tamers of the totem country, those who had known Shiyu and fought Shiyu directly had stunned eyes. Their values were almost shattered. They didn't understand why Shiyu could tear apart an overlord with his bare hands after not seeing him for a while. What exactly was wrong with the power on his body? Is he still human? 1. The feedback of the mythical race? The Elven Empress looked at the dragon god beside her. Not to mention outsiders, even their own people were extremely shocked. Otherwise, it was impossible to explain this power. There might be another reason, the dragon god said. Undying Fruit. Divine Source Legendary and President Lin didn't want to talk anymore. They knew that Shiyu had been preparing for 3 days. In the end, it turned out that it was for him. They hadn't seen this coming at all. Most importantly, Shiyu really succeeded. Was the increase brought by the Undying Fruit and the contracted mythical race that strong? Even Divine Source Legendary and President Lin couldn't make a judgment. As expected, he shouldn't have believed that Shiyu, who would play the Iron-Eating Beast Knight in a vocation assessment, could compete normally in the world competition. He just didn't know what the World Tree would think. After Shiyu's battle ended, the entire Inatella fell silent. Suddenly, a huge pressure descended between heaven and earth. With a hum, a thick branch suddenly stretched out from a towering tree closest to the Earth Element arena. At the end of the branch, the green tree worm-like World Tree clone descended with a serious expression. It finally couldn't sit still anymore. In its opinion, this human beast tamer was extremely ridiculous, completely exceeding its understanding. As the World Tree clone appeared, everyone was numb. Only then did they remember that the World Tree clone was paying attention to every arena at all times. Then, it would give the beast tamer who passed the preliminaries a reward on the spot. The beast tamers of the totem country who had passed at the moment had all obtained a World Tree leaf from the World Tree. The energy level of the leaf was level 8, and its quality was between legend and myth. It could be called a quasi-legendary resource. It had the power to increase physique, life force, spiritual power, soul power, and various other attributes. For the contestants of the totem country, this reward was very useful. After all, the previous level 6 beast tamers were all contracting overlords above their level. Their bodies were very weak. The strengthening effect brought by the World Tree Leaf could better let them welcome the next mythical trial. And this time, this human named Shiyu actually broke through the arena without sending his pet. For a moment, it was impossible for the various factions to determine what rewards the World Tree would give. However, to everyone's surprise, the World Tree clone didn't directly distribute the rewards this time. Instead, it questioned Shiyu first. "Human beast tamer, where's your pet?" the World Tree clone said. He looked at this archaeologist who had told the 7 countries about the mythical era in advance and at this broken arena. He kept feeling that a variable seemed to have appeared in this world competition. A freak that it didn't expect in advance. At this moment, as the World Tree appeared and confirmed that Shiyu was fighting a top-notch overlord in the beast tamer's main body, many factions fell silent. "You said that using 1 pet to defeat the enemy is better than using 2. Then I think it might be better not to send a pet to win the battle," Shiyu said. World Tree clone? This was how he calculated. Moreover, if a beast tamer is only a burden to his pet and doesn't have enough hard strength, he can't be considered outstanding, right? Shiyu said. These words directly made the scalps of the level 6 beast tamers who had participated in the preliminaries go numb. It also stunned the legendary beast tamers who didn't participate in the preliminaries. Was this human language? However, no one could refute what Shiyu said. The beast tamers of the totem countries just now were examples. They were all burdens of overlord creatures. It was the same for the 7 countries. Beast tamers were too weak and still had to be protected by their beasts. They were also burdens to their pets. Although it could also buff the pet, they also needed the pet to be distracted to protect themselves. Chapter 905, 905 Son of the Stars, 3. 905 Son of the Stars, 3. Shiyu displayed a completely different appearance, telling everyone what a super blue planet person was. "You consumed mythical resources?" The World Tree clone looked at Shiyu and asked. Apart from that, it was very difficult for him to imagine that Shiyu's physique could reach this level just by training and the feedback of his pets. Shiyu said, "I've eaten the undying fruit. This shouldn't be against the rules, right?" Don't tell him that the inactivated undying fruit was also considered equipment. As Shiyu finished speaking, the expressions of the legendaries, demigods, and totems changed. Undying fruit? That undying fruit that could at least turn one into a totem-level undead and live a second life after death? An undying fruit that could increase soul power to the limit? How could a mere level 6 beast tamer like him come into contact with such resources? The Valkyrie of the 7 Islands had an even more unfriendly expression. This mythical resource, was it really not taken from the 7 Islands? Is indeed Lu Bai. The legendary master and disciple of the Phoenix Court of the 7 Islands looked at Shiyu with a burning gaze. Mythical resources weren't that common. Lu Bai had obtained a mythical resource on the 7 Islands, and Shiyu had eaten a mythical resource. If it weren't for one, they wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. Shiyu actually said it. The Dragon God and Dragon Kings of Dragon Palace City were relatively calm. They quickly reacted. This time, the beast tamers of the totem country would probably have to tiptoe when fighting Shiyu. When other beasts fought, pets needed to carefully protect beast tamers. As for the beast tamer fighting Shiyu, he would probably have to carefully remind his pets not to hurt Shiyu. If Shiyu was killed and turned into a totem, no one could leave alive. This was a dilemma. The juniors of the totem country and the 7 countries didn't know what the undying fruit was at the start. But as they asked the elders, their expressions exploded. He'll become a totem after killing him. Why? How could there be such a resource? Wasn't this cheating? I wasn't wrong at that time. This human is indeed a monster. The fallen angel prince's expression froze. As Shiyu revealed that he had eaten the mythical undying fruit, even demigods and legendaries were instantly stunned. Their faces were beyond disbelief. Why should such a human brat enjoy such a resource? Undying fruit. The World Tree clone was also silent for a moment. As expected, Shi Yu's power was strengthened from the inside out. At this moment, everyone finally understood why Shi Yu's battle power was so ridiculous. A level 6 beast tamer like him had actually eaten mythical resources. Of course, since Shi Yu was so strong, the undying fruit only played a support role, but outsiders didn't know that due to the mystery of the mythical resources, they subconsciously believed that the reason why Shi Yu's main body's battle power was so strong and why he could even activate his spiritual power was because of the undying fruit. What kind of heaven-defying opportunity is this? Dong Huang can't be so generous. In other words, he obtained it himself? Don't forget, he's an archaeologist and even investigated the history of the mythical era. I'm afraid the number of ruins cracked exceeds 3 digits, and there are even mythical ruins. If it was said that the totem factions didn't know the value of the strongest archaeologist of the 7 countries just now, then now, they completely knew. They understood that Shi Yu, who had cracked the secret of the mythical era, was currently the strongest archaeologist on Blue Planet. His foundation might be quite rich. In the future, if you encounter Shi Yu, be careful. Don't care about him. Just attack his pet. After eating the undying fruit, this human strength might be even stronger than its pet. If he dies, it will be even more troublesome. Not only will he cause trouble on the spot, but the killer will also suffer the revenge of Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City later. The leading totems of the weak totem countries told their contestants. If possible, they wouldn't touch this Shi Yu. If one really couldn't avoid it, one would only attack the pet and not hurt it. What the hell? This guy was the most troublesome existence to the totem country so far. A beast tamer who might be stronger than his pet's battle power, and one couldn't even attack him. If he was killed, he could even become stronger. How could they fight? Yu passed. The World Tree clone didn't dwell on this matter for long. Although Shi Yu's performance made its stomach hurt a little and exceeded its expectations. However, without a doubt, Shi Yu's potential had completely obtained its recognition. The previous level 6 beast tamers of the totem country were too weak. They had no potential to speak of. What it wanted to find was Shi Yu. The reason why he had to support a level 6 beast tamer first was to avoid missing a genius who had yet to break through to the legendary level because of his age. Although Shi Yu was only at level 6 now, his strength exceeded most legends. After nurturing it a little, he could also compete for the mythical trial and champion position with other legends. Legendary resource, World Branch Liquid. The World Tree clone spoke. A branch with liquid flew towards Shi Yu. After using it, it can accelerate the speed at which you strengthen the beast taming space. It's a cultivation-type resource. If you accumulate enough, you can rely on it to break through to level 7 during the World Tournament. I look forward to your subsequent performance. It was a top-notch cultivation resource that didn't exist in the 7-Nation Alliance at the moment. Initially, Shi Yu thought that there was no hope of breaking through to legend level before the world competition. He didn't expect that he could really obtain cultivation resources in the world competition. Chapter 906, 906 Son of the Stars, 4. 906 Son of the Stars, 4. This time, the World Tree suddenly had an additional mythical trial. If other beast tamers obtained the divine inheritance, then Shi Yu's championship might be unstable. If he could break through, it would undoubtedly be even more perfect. Legendary level cultivation resource. At this moment, when they saw that the World Tree clone had rewarded Shi Yu with legendary level cultivation resources, the expressions of the other contestants changed. Shi Yu was already so strong at level 6. If he broke through to the legend level, what would happen? Only Dong Huang's divine source, President Lin, and the others were pleasantly surprised. Shi Yu was already a step away from the legend level. In addition to Shi Yu's powerful pet strength, as long as he broke through to the legend level, the world competition champion could be said to be completely without any suspense. In the mythical trial, he could definitely obtain more opportunities. The gift from the World Tree was completely timely. Wait. Shi Yu really needs our protection? Among the legendary contestants of Dong Huang, Divine Bell and Yixing watched in silence the whole time. They had no idea when Shiyu had eaten the undying fruit, nor did they know how Shiyu had obtained such strong strength. As long as one wasn't stupid, they could tell that if the beast tamer himself was strong, the pets would definitely be stronger than the beast tamer. Just the undead possession could directly double Shiyu's battle power again. They looked at President Lin and saw that he had a calm expression. More like take care of each other. President Lin was also very helpless. How would he know that this kid's strength had increased so quickly? Yixing and Divine Bell had complicated expressions. At this moment, the World Tree clone had already retreated. The rock arena automatically repaired, and a new Earth Desolate Bear gradually condensed. In the arena, Shiyu held the branch and felt the surrounding gazes. He was slightly stunned. Then, he tightened his grip on the branch and smiled in all directions. See you in the main competition. I will become a new world legend. As Shiyu finished speaking, the expressions of the overlords and their servants gathered around changed. This guy? At this moment, the entire venue was shocked. The contestants with the strength of invincible overlords who didn't participate in the preliminaries and could directly participate in the main competition had unfriendly expressions. They all felt mockery. A mere level 6 beast tamer who had only eaten a mythical resource. Wasn't he a little too arrogant? Did he think that he had the strength to win the championship just like that? Not to mention the contestants of the Totem Country, even the expressions of the contestants of the 7 countries changed slightly. They didn't understand why Shiyu was so brave. Didn't he know that saying this would directly become the #1 target of the Totem Country? Holy shit, kid, you can choose not to talk if you don't know how to talk. After Shiyu finished speaking, the Gem Cat had already enveloped Shiyu with its psychic power and teleported him. Shiyu directly disappeared from the Earth Element Arena and was teleported back to the Dong Huang area. Ha, what's the matter? Shiyu laughed and said, giving myself some pressure. Let's not talk about it anymore. Teacher Ying, I'll go cultivate first. Now that the preliminaries had passed, Shiyu only had one thought. He had to hurry up and use this world's branch liquid to cultivate. He didn't want to pay attention to the changes in the outside world for the time being. Breaking through his strength was the most important thing. The Gem Cat was just about to say something when Shiyu couldn't wait to study the World Tree branch liquid. At this moment, storms instantly rose in the 7 countries because of Shiyu's performance. Zhu Yun, Jiao Shen, Ji Feng, and the other level 6 beast tamers' expressions never recovered their calm from the beginning to the end. The beast tamers of the other 6 countries also looked in Dong Huang's direction in a daze. The Totem Country exploded. Shiyu! This name had made them especially concerned a few days ago, and now, their concern had increased by several levels. He actually passed the preliminaries without even sending his pet. If he sent his pet and cooperated with his pet, how strong would he be? Most importantly, this guy was only a level 6 beast tamer. Now that the World Tree had given him the resources to break through, before the main competition, could he break through? Ignore him. The key is the opportunity in the mythical trial. The totem giants hidden in the dark echoed softly. The rules were already very obvious. Whoever could obtain the inheritance in the mythical trial was most likely to become the final winner. No matter how strong Shiyu's battle power was, it was only a telepathy talent. It couldn't make the pet's strength undergo a qualitative change. The real outcome still depended on the strength of the transcendent creature. In the alternate space, Divine Source Legendary, the Dragon God, and the others had long expected Shiyu to attract huge attention in Inatella. This was only the beginning. At that time, Yu's Winged Kareen and the other pets had no choice but to participate in the battle. At that time, Shiyu would directly become the center of the storm. I hope he can successfully break through to legend. At this moment, in Shiyu's ruined space, holding the World Tree branch liquid, Shiyu was filled with joy. However, as he sensed the power of the World Tree branch liquid, someone seemed to be even happier than Shiyu. In the ruined space, the Ling Research Institute, the Space Beast Egg Hatching Room. At that time, when you entered the ruins with the World Tree Branch liquid, suddenly, the Space Beast egg that was originally lacking a nutrient and had yet to hatch in Ling's research suddenly flickered and erupted with a shocking light. A powerful energy wave shook the sky, causing the legendary ruins to tremble, making Shiyu's expression suddenly change. This light seemed to be indicating that it was extremely hungry for the World Tree Branch liquid. What's going on? At this moment, Shiyu couldn't help but teleport to the side of the Space Beast egg and stare at the egg. At the same time, he put away the World Tree Branch liquid, afraid that this guy would snatch resources from him. At that moment, as it resonated with the World Tree Branch liquid, the Space Beast egg directly had an obvious change. The remaining traces of time on it that even Shiyu couldn't see clearly began to make Shiyu's listening talent, which had not reacted for a long time, hear voices again. The voice was extremely young, like a baby. I want. At the same time, listening to his historical talent made Shiyu see exaggerated scenes on the egg. In the vast starry sky, a purple-white planet that was about to shatter disintegrated into countless fragments. Fragments shot in various directions in the starry sky of the universe. At this moment, apart from Shiyu, Ling, and the others in the ruins, the creatures outside didn't sense the change in the Space Beast egg. It was far from the impact of the sound of laws brought by the quasi-divine skill. However, this special wave made the World Tree clones in various places in Inatella look up in confusion. Why would a Son of Stars appear on Blue Planet? Who brought it back? The Son of the Stars, the prototype of a life planet and the prototype of a world's consciousness. As the clone of Blue Planet's will, the World Tree Worm immediately sensed that a member of its race had appeared on Inatella. It crossed space effortlessly and arrived at the independent space where the Son of the Stars was. Then, it silently saw a scene. The beast tamer who had just been rewarded with the World Tree Branch liquid was holding the egg of the Son of the Stars and looking cautiously at it, which had suddenly barged into the ruins. Shiyu was shocked. He sensed that someone had barged into his ruins and thought that it was a demigod. In the end, it was a green tree worm. World Tree clone. At this moment, the tree worm was looking at him solemnly. Where did the egg you're holding come from? The World Tree clone said. Shiyu was stunned for a moment. What's wrong with it? The World Tree clone said, you're holding a cub of a planet's will. Shiyu? Who? A planet cub? There was such a thing? Shiyu was momentarily stunned. The egg that the gem cat had always wanted to fry was a planet. Then what it wanted just now was the World Branch liquid from Blue Planet. It was... Shiyu's expression was strange. It was breast milk? Chapter 907, 907 Space Egg Hatching, 1. 907 Space Egg Hatching, 1. Shiyu hugged the Space Beast egg. He had thought that this thing would hatch an abyss evil god. It had also thought that this thing would hatch a space worm. Apart from the fact that it was a little impossible for it to be a cosmic beast, the other two races that invaded Blue Planet might hatch. Of course, it was also possible that it was some other strange cosmic life form. After all, it was impossible for the huge universe to only have three races: Space Beast, Space Worm, and Abyss Evil God. However, no matter what Shiyu thought, he didn't expect that this thing was actually a planet cub. Shiyu naturally didn't doubt the World Tree clone, because its main body was Blue Planet's clone. As a planet, it was very normal for it to recognize its own race. At this moment, Shiyu's first thought was that the Space Emperor had suffered a huge loss. It was an insane loss. He remembered that back then, Senior Lu had said that because the contract slot was full, the Space Emperor had given up on contracting this pet egg and the idea of contracting a cosmic beast. He planned to experiment on others first. If the Space Emperor knew that there was a cub of a planet's will in the egg, would he cry? Planet. If a planet had a race, its level had to be divine, right? Wait. Something was wrong. The Space Emperor might know that this was a planet cub. If Shiyu remembered correctly, the information Senior Lu obtained from the Void Mantis was that when the Space Emperor went to the Starry Sky, he accidentally entered a Starry Sky mystic realm and saw many Starry Sky beasts inside. It wasn't just one egg, but many lives. In addition, if the Space Emperor didn't know what this was, how did it know its hatching and contract method? Shiyu suddenly recalled the scene he had seen through his listening talent. A purple and white planet seemed to have exploded, splitting into countless fragments. If a fragment represented an egg, then this purple and white planet had more than one egg. How could a planet give birth so easily? Lord World Tree, at this moment, Shiyu knew that only the World Tree clone in front of him could solve his confusion. This egg was brought back by a senior from the starry sky and given to me. Son of the stars, the cut of the planet's will, does such a thing really exist? Also, why did you come in? The World Tree was silent. It suddenly realized that he seemed to have barged into someone else's independent space. Shiyu was also very silent. Even if a demigod wanted to barge into his space, it would probably take some effort. In the end, the clone of the World Tree entered just like that. At this moment, with the change just now and the intrusion of the World Tree clone. In this layer of space, the Panda King 11, the Green Dragon Buggy, the Undying Ginseng Baby, and the others in training also quickly arrived. They were only a step slower than Shiyu, who teleported through the authority of the Master of the Ruins, and the World Tree clone that suddenly barged in. A shocking change naturally attracted their attention and attracted them over. Roar! The Green Dragon Buggy was the first to arrive. Just as the World Tree clone was about to talk to Shiyu, it saw the 1-meter-long little green dragon fly into the research institute. With a look, the World Tree clone was stunned and a little incredulous. It sensed extraordinary power that exceeded invincible overlords like the Flame Dragon King, and the fallen Angel Prince on this strange dragon-type creature. And the life level of this creature seemed to be at the overlord level. The second to arrive was the owner of the research institute, Ling. A violent wind blew, and Ling, who had turned into a wind Kirin, looked at the shining space beast egg and the World Tree clone that had entered the ruins solemnly. "What's wrong, Master?" At this moment, the World Tree clone's gaze landed on Ling again. "Wind Kirin, no, it's a mechanical life form, but not completely." With a look, it frowned. It actually couldn't see through the life form of this creature at all. It looked like a mechanical life form created by humans, but it didn't look like it either. At the same time, it sensed an incomparably mysterious potential from Ling. Was this a mechanical phantom beast? "Am I Ning?" Kai Tong and Susu followed closely. The normal power of the two pets far exceeded that of ordinary monarchs and was close to overlords. Their arrival also made the World Tree clone raise its eyebrows slightly. First, it sensed the power of a hybrid on Kai Tong from humans and phoenixes. Then, it sensed a familiar wave on Susu. It kept feeling that it had seen this guy somewhere. Yi! Baby Ginseng was late. It crawled out of the ground and came over. The sunflower swayed on its head and it looked at the World Tree clone with its green eyes. At this moment, Baby Ginseng and the World Tree clone looked at each other. On Baby Ginseng, the World Tree worm first judged that it was a supplement race. Then, it actually sensed many powerful powers such as life and death and time on it. Boom! The last to come was 11, who was the furthest away. Its training location was assigned to the furthest place by Ling, mainly because its training was too brutal. Ling was afraid of it hurting the bypassers. At this moment, the World Tree clone was stunned again. It looked at the panda flying over with the electromagnetic levitation and actually felt power comparable to the totem level from it. How was this possible? Sob. At this moment, 11 and the others looked into the room and asked Shiyu what was wrong. "It's all right." Lord World Tree simply came over as a guest, Shiyu said. "They're your pets?" At this moment, the World Tree clone suddenly realized something. Chapter 908, 908 Space Egg Hatching, 2. 908 Space Egg Hatching, 2. 2 overlords comparable to totems and 6 monarchs comparable to overlords. These creatures were all pets of this human called Shiyu. He, a level 6 beast tamer, contracted 2 overlords above his level. Moreover, they were also strong. However, when it recalled Shiyu's abnormal physique, the World Tree clone suddenly felt that it was normal. Even legendary beast tamers who weren't proficient in body forging weren't as strong as this Shiyu. With such a physique, it was understandable for him to contract 2 overlords above his level. No, Shiyu's strong physique might also be because of the feedback from these pets. It was mutual achievement. It focused on the iron-eating beast and the little green dragon with monster-like physical strength. What race were these two guys? The World Tree clone wanted to trace the origin and see the secrets of 11, Buggy, and even Ling clearly, but because the main body of the World Tree was still sleeping, it was also possible that the power on the other party had already exceeded its perception. What made the World Tree clone silent was that it actually couldn't see through them. It would be fine if 11 and the others were demigods, but their life fluctuations were clearly not above the Overlord level. Most importantly, what surprised the World Tree clone was that the traces of life on their bodies were terrifyingly short. They were basically not older than 5 years old. They are indeed my pets. Shiyu nodded. You actually contracted 2 overlords above your level. At this moment, the World Tree clone was completely interested in this human beast tamer named Shiyu. A few days passed. The World Tree clone also understood Shiyu a little. He developed the Fossil Revival and Mechanical Phantom Beast system. From there, through this system, he revived divine beast fossils and mobilized dream memories to spy on the mythical era. The birth of the Mechanic class had already surprised the World Tree, and someone had relied on the Mechanic class to create a new Phantom Beast race that traced back to the mythical era, making it even more surprised. The World Tree branch liquid was extremely precious, but at this moment, the World Tree clone didn't regret giving it to Shiyu at all. If this guy broke through to the legend level and relied on these pets, he would completely be a champion. Even if it had already learned that there were 2 freaks who contracted totems above their level in this batch of contestants, it was still very likely that Shiyu would do it. As long as Shiyu could obtain pretty good gains in the mythical trial. Of course, it wouldn't favor anyone. Whether it was the human that was the main battle power or the beast that was the main battle power, it was still verifying which of the 2 paths was better. The 2 beast tamers who contracted totems above their level were both hybrids with special talents. Be it their bloodlines or beast-taming talents, they were tailor-made to contract specific lives. The restrictions were extremely strong, but it was undeniable that they had created a miracle. Even the World Tree clone sighed. The totem clans were also advancing with the times. Their development of humans had reached an exaggerated level. Contracting a totem-level life form was originally the patent of a level 9 legendary beast tamer. However, it was reduced to level 7 by the transcendent life form through modifying human bloodlines, talent, and modifying the contract method. As for the human countries, the World Tree clone felt pretty good. For example, the appearance of a mechanical life form was an extremely powerful battle power. At the same time, this Shiyu had also created a miracle. Of course, the World Tree clone said. And it can be said to be the most common race in the universe. Shiyu, Ling, and the others were slightly stunned as they looked at the World Tree clone. In the starry sky of the universe, there are countless planets. There are a few planets that will give birth to consciousness by chance. When the planet gives birth to consciousness, it has the initial qualifications to nurture divine-level life forms. Although the lifespan of a planetary life form is very long, there's still a limit. When the lifespan of a planetary life form reaches the end, it will break down and turn into countless children of stars that fly in all directions of the universe. A planet might nurture more than 1 million sons of the stars. However, more than 99% of the sons of the stars will fail to hatch because they can't absorb enough nutrition in the universe. As for those lucky ones who successfully hatch, they have to survive a relatively long week period and grow quickly in danger to have the ability to protect themselves in the starry sky. After all, the sun of the stars is also food that many cosmic life forms like. At this moment, 11, Ling, and the others looked at the space beast egg in shock. So, the egg that Teacher Cat had always wanted to eat was a planet? Therefore, Teacher Cat was also a cosmic life form? Star Cat. Can the sun of the stars be contracted like ordinary pets? Shiyu asked. According to the contract method provided by the Space Emperor, this kind of cosmic life form might be very strange. Just like heroic spirits, it would be bound to beast tamers in a special way. Shiyu felt that the Space Emperor might have come into contact with other sons of stars and had done a certain amount of research. However, it was unknown if the Space Emperor knew that these sons of stars were cubs of a planet. In theory, the World Tree clone said, the beast-taming space of human beast tamers is created by simulating a planet. The growth of the son of the stars is the growth of the beast-taming space. The two will complement each other. However, the complete growth difficulty of the son of the stars is also the highest in all lives. The difficulty is equivalent to a beast tamer cultivating the beast taming space from level 9 to level 10. The growth of the son of the stars is the process of shaping the laws of the world. They need to build a complete world in their bodies. It's the same if beast tamers want to reach the mythical stage. They need to shape the beast taming space into a small world that contains laws. Chapter 909 Space Egg Hatching, 3. 909 Space Egg Hatching, 3. After completing this step, the life contracted by this beast tamer can easily comprehend the power of the natural order and break through to the mythical stage. Of course, these are still very far from you. Shiyu looked surprised. Legendary to mythical meant to mold the beast taming space into an independent small world with laws. Legendary beast tamers had the ability to modify the beast taming space. Therefore, after they died, the beast taming space could transform into ruins and mystic realms. Shiyu could still understand this, but how to mold the beast taming space into a world that contained laws? Shiyu was really... No. Shiyu took a deep breath. Damn it. Did his mind domain, such as the Taiji domain, contain some kind of law? The special environment of the spaces of those legendary beast tamers most likely came from their beast taming talent. Then in the future, could he integrate his mind domain into the beast taming space? Create a world where yin and yang alternated? It has already absorbed a lot of nutrients, right? The World Tree clone looked at the space beast egg and said, yes, it has already absorbed a lot of nutrients, but it should still be a little lacking. Just now, the World Tree branch liquid made it mutate. It seems to want to absorb the World Tree branch liquid very much. The World Tree clone was silent. This is also very normal. The World Tree branch liquid is the purest world energy on Blue Planet. It's even more precious than the nutrients it absorbs that wander in the starry sky of the universe. After absorbing it, its growth will be even smoother. But you look like you want to hatch it very much, but you can't bear to part with the World Tree branch liquid. The World Tree clone said. Shiyu? Since it knew, it should give him another one. Wasn't it good for them to raise this child together? Didn't it see that it liked its mother's milk very much? Shiyu indeed wanted to hatch it. If it was a space worm or an abyssal creature, he wouldn't be so interested. After all, the space worm was basically a worm that had mastered an infinite devour skill. Abyss race. To put it bluntly, they were ducks. There was nothing strange about it. But the son of the stars. Shiyu really wanted to hatch it and see what skills it had. There's nothing to be reluctant about. Then I'll give it to it. It doesn't matter if I break through or not. Even if I'm level 6, I can still become a world legend, Shiyu said. After all, he was originally also here to win the world competition with level 6. World Tree? You seem very confident in your strength. The World Tree clone said. It looked at 11 and the others surrounding Shiyu. Of course. Shiyu smiled. At the same time, Shiyu was puzzled. Could the World Tree clone not tell the strength of 11 and the others? Including quasi-divine skills, faith skills. Or rather, the World Tree clone didn't even accurately judge his self-strength at the start. Otherwise, he should be like Divine Source Legendary and President Lin, determined that he could become the champion. It was worse than he imagined. Or could it be that the World Tree clone knew his strength, but there were stronger contestants? However, your choice was right. I just said that the beast-taming space of human beast tamers is opened up by simulating a planet. The growth of the son of the stars is the growth of the beast-taming space. The growth of the beast-taming space is the growth of the Son of the Stars. The two will complement each other. After you use the World Tree branch liquid to hatch it, even if you haven't completed the contract, its ability can still assist you in increasing your cultivation speed. After contracting it in the future, when the mythical stage revives, it might be easier for you to break through to the mythical stage than other beast tamers. The premise is that you all successfully grow up. After the World Tree finished speaking, Shiyu was slightly stunned. He said happily, "Really? Then I'll hatch it now. Think about it yourself." The World Tree worm stopped talking. A void vortex appeared behind it, as if it was about to leave. It still had a mission. After figuring out the reason for the appearance of the Son of the Stars, it had no intention of staying on Shiyu's side anymore. However, when the World Tree worm was about to leave, someone panicked. For example, Shiyu. "Wait, Lord World Tree, aren't you going to see it hatch together?" This was a child who had grown up after drinking its milk. Why was it leaving directly? I hope you don't raise it to death. In the mythical era, there were divine-level life forms who raised sons of the stars, but they all failed. But I've never seen a human nurturing a son of the stars. Before the World Tree clone left, it glanced at the Space Beast egg. The Son of the Stars could be said to be the most difficult race to grow into. It didn't know if Shiyu could successfully nurture it. The World Tree clone left. Only Shiyu and the others were left on the spot in silence. He looked at the Son of the Stars egg that was still crying for food. "I want." Shiyu heard the voice of the Son of the Stars through telepathy again. Want to drink milk? Forget it, I'll give it to you." Shiyu took out the World Tree branch liquid and used it to come into contact with the Space Beast egg without hesitation. In the next moment, a drop of white and green liquid in the World Tree branch liquid was directly absorbed by the white and purple striped Space Beast egg. Wu? Ji? Yi? 11 and the others widened their eyes and looked at the Space Beast egg. Ling's expression also froze. No wonder it couldn't figure out anything no matter how it studied it. Relying on its current intelligence level, it was ridiculous to research what the planet's cub needed. The Space Emperor should have learned the hatching conditions from the Son of the Stars that he had already hatched. At this moment, not only Ling, but even Shiyu was more and more curious about where the Space Emperor had gone after disappearing into the starry sky. In addition, he didn't know if the mystic realm the Space Emperor accidentally entered was still around. Could it be that he disappeared after entering that mystic realm the second time? The space egg didn't shatter. Instead, the light was even more dazzling. It was as if it had evolved. At first, the light was dazzling, then the light disappeared. A new species that replaced the Space Beast egg appeared in front of Shiyu and the others. This is... Shiyu and the others looked at the Son of the Stars, who was trying its best to open his eyes. It had a white spherical body and a pair of purple cat ears on its head, but in fact, at a glance, one could only see its upper body. The lower part and the surroundings of its back were wrapped in a rolling light purple gas. White starlight flickered from time to time in this gas. It was very beautiful. On its white body, it had big clear eyes like a baby and a round mouth. Just as its blue-purple eyes opened, they were filled with endless curiosity about this world. It really hatched. However, Shiyu originally thought that it would be a ball. He didn't expect it to be a ball wrapped in a nebula. Moreover, it had eyes and a mouth. The Son of the Stars' mouth trembled slightly. It looked at Shiyu and the others before revealing a timid expression. Its body retreated slightly with the purple nebula. Without a doubt, there was no information about the Son of the Stars in the index. If he wanted to know its situation, he had to understand it himself. Shiyu took a deep breath and stretched out his hand, trying to communicate with the Son of the Stars through telepathy. He smiled and said, "Little guy, come here and let Daddy see you." 11. Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, and the other pets. They suspected that he wanted to take advantage of the World Tree. The Son of the Stars hesitated for a moment and didn't dodge Shiyu's hand. Then, it revealed a happy expression. its entire body wrapped around Shiyu's hand and flew. Not only was the purple nebula a gas, but its white body seemed to be able to turn into gas too. Shiyu immediately discovered the speciality of the Son of the Stars. At this moment, the Son of the Stars had no defense in its heart and mind. It was like a newborn baby. Shiyu easily established a mental and spiritual connection with it and sensed its specific situation. Woo! Under Shiyu's perception, the physique of the Son of the Stars seemed to be especially special. In its body, like Buggy's spatial pocket, Susu's infinite devouring space, and Ling's mechanical space, there was also an independent space. However, unlike Buggy and the others, the evolution process of this space seemed to determine the abilities and forms awakened by the Son of the Stars next. I understand, Shiyu said. The World Tree said that the growth of the Son of the Stars was the process of shaping the rules of the world. They needed to build a complete world in their bodies. In other words, the process of nurturing the Son of the Stars was the process of creating the world in its body? Chapter 910, 910 Taking Someone Else's Path. 910 Taking Someone Else's Path. Awesome! No wonder the World Tree said that the Son of the Stars was difficult to nurture. This was the rhythm of letting the cultivator become the creation god. If it wanted the Son of the Stars to take shape, its interior had to contain a complete set of laws that could support the operation of the world. How much power of the natural order was needed? It was already very rare for a more powerful divine-level life form to master 3 to 4 nomological divine skills, while a planet god needed even more than that. Earth, Blue Planet. Shiyu quickly thought of various similar rules on Earth and Blue Planet. But soon, he shook his head. Too small, too small. He had only seen what he had come into contact with, but he understood so many creation myths. Why didn't he broaden his horizons? For example, shaping the world into the 3 realms of Tao, based on the theoretical support of Yin-Yang, naturally produced the 3 spaces of heaven, earth and man. For example, molding the world into the world of 6 Tao reincarnations and using the karma when he was alive as the foundation of the main world to create the 6 Tao. There was no need to be restricted to the technological world and the beast-taming world. As long as the rules were suitable, was it possible to create a immortal cultivation world and magic battle aura world? According to the World Tree clone, the complete standard of the Son of the Stars was that the inner world had the qualifications to create a divine-level life form. Different divine-level lives could be created according to the different laws in the body. In the beginning, Blue Planet had clearly taken the path of nurturing divine beasts, but now, it planned to nurture divine-level beast tamers. Shiyu looked at the Son of the Stars. He didn't plan to let it take the same path as Blue Planet, but he hadn't thought of what world to open up. At the same time, the white ball with purple cat ears hid in the purple nebula and looked at Shiyu strangely. He. It didn't understand why Shiyu was looking at it with a silly smile. Although he had not completely thought about it, Shiyu confirmed in a moment how to nurture this Son of Star. Putting everything else aside, he definitely had to have the faith law mechanism. How could it be easier to plunder the power of faith on Blue Planet than to create a world himself and become the only faith in this world? At that time, baby Ginseng would directly enter the body of the Son of the Stars and transform into a World Tree. Buggy would directly transform into a creation god dragon. The other pets would be the same. They would become the first batch of creation god spirits and the primitive gods of that world to obtain faith. Logically speaking, their strength should be able to increase greatly. Similarly, when he nurtured baby Ginseng, Buggy, and the others to the point where they could use the power of the natural order, it would be easier for the Son of the Stars to open a complete world with their help. Shiyu judged that the mythical creatures of Blue Planet and the mythical era should also have this relationship of mutual achievement. However, Blue Planet might be a little higher than the Son of Star. It was an awareness born directly from the form of a planet. If Blue Planet was a mother, then the Son of a Star was a daughter. Just as it was born, the Son of the Stars looked extremely tired. Shiyu could clearly sense that this guy was hungry. Food. Shiyu looked at baby Ginseng and Susu beside him. The two of them were stunned. One took out a level 1 tree fruit, and the other took out a diluted level 1 starry sky strange water. It was afraid that this newborn son of star couldn't digest it if it was too high level. Am I? Seeing the food, the son of the stars' eyes lit up. It didn't refuse anyone and didn't care what it was. It directly flew over and swallowed it in one go. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After eating, the son of the stars stopped and landed on the table. Shiyu saw its satisfied expression. Stop training first. Shiyu smiled at 11 and the others. Let's play with it for a while. As there was no contract, if they wanted to understand more about this new son of a star, Shiyu and the others could only personally play with it and slowly come into contact with it. Named Son of the Stars. Attributes: Space. Race level: High level Overlord, Quasi-mythical. Level of growth: Transcendent. Race skill: Inner world, Super skill: The body has a growth type world. The growth of the world determines one's growth and evolution. World force: Super skill, can mobilize the laws, nature, faith, and other powers in the inner world to attack. World blessing: Super skill, can rely on the world itself to give other life blessings. The effect of the blessing depends on the world's ability. Energy points: 10,000. After Shiyu and the others studied it, they roughly understood the situation of the Son of the Stars. Although he didn't know if this was the limit of the Son of the Stars, from the abilities he had learned so far, the potential of the Son of the Stars was very strong. Among them, the World Blessing was an ability similar to the World Tree Blessing. The World Tree clone didn't lie to him. After the Son of the Stars blessed Shiyu through this skill, Shiyu could clearly sense that the speed of strengthening the beast-taming space had become faster. Perhaps it was because the Son of the Stars had absorbed the World Branch liquid that its blessing effect had a similar ability. In fact, during the blessing period, the cultivation effect was comparable to his cultivation in the Space Emperor ruins. After all, the Son of the Stars was only at the transcendent level. If it grew to the demigod level, wouldn't its blessing effect be comparable to the blessing of the World Tree? Moreover, under the blessed state, Shiyu discovered that this enhancement completely didn't conflict with the enhancement effect of the legendary ruins and the Blue Sea ruins. His cultivation efficiency directly multiplied. At this moment, Shiyu was overjoyed. Chapter 911, 911 taking someone else's path and leaving someone else with no way out. 911 taking someone else's path and leaving someone else with no way out. The investment in the World Tree Branch liquid was not a loss. At the moment, the only thing that Shiyu felt was a pity was that the Son of the Star was the same as the Time Sprite. He couldn't teach other skills at all. The racial restrictions were serious. Perhaps before it grew up, it could only increase its racial skills to lead its growth. Also, its level was too low at the moment. Its inner world was not enough to support the entry of life forms at the transcendent level and above. As a result, even if Shiyu and the others wanted to help it shape the world laws such as yin-yang, they were unable to complete it. Shiyu decided. After he broke through to the legendary level, he would first contract the Son of the Star and replicate its 3 racial skills. He would keep teaching it and let it become an overlord quickly. At that time, it and the entire team could complement each other and quickly become stronger. At that time, with its power, he should be able to quickly break through to level 8 and legendary. I'll call you Little Z. Meaning Little Purple. Am I? After the entire team gave the Son of the Star a name, Shiyu and the others watched as Little Z fell asleep. It had just been born and it had already given Shiyu a world blessing. Little Z was clearly very tired. Woo! After Little Z fell asleep, Shiyu looked at baby Ginseng and the others. Sob. Yi. G. At this moment, 11 and the others put away their smiles from playing with Little Purple just now. Their expression was extremely serious. Ridiculous. It was very ridiculous. Especially the 3 innermost brothers in the team, their expressions were extremely serious. They felt that the guys who joined the team later were each more heaven-defying than the other. Kai Tong, the power reincarnation of a titled legend, Susu, the strongest sea demigod reincarnation, Ling, the inheritance of a mythical creature. In the end, another spatial law sprite and planet cub came. Was there any way to stay in this team? How far did they have to fight to maintain the advantage in the team? Well, it's decided. At this moment, Shiyu suddenly clapped and said, "When the World Tree Fruit of the Alliance arrives, let's see if it can be used as an evolution material for the Ginseng baby to evolve in the direction of the World Tree. Undying Sun Ginseng Evolution, World Ginseng. When we win the World Championship, let the World Tree help advise. At that time, you and the Son of Star will be biological siblings of the same mother. This way, it and the Son of the Star might be able to support each other better." Yi! Baby Ginseng's eyes lit up. World Ginseng! It sounded good. Ju! Beside him, Kai Tong, who looked like a little red sparrow, immediately looked at Shiyu eagerly. Didn't they agree to let it evolve after the world competition? Why did Baby Ginseng obtain a mythical evolution resource? This was not scientific. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry, I'll definitely arrange the strongest evolution for you, Shiyu said to Kai Tong with a smile. The kind that can slash open a world with a sword. I'll inform them now. Ah, no, President Lin, please. Those legendary resources are all undead and fire element. Kai Tong. Ling, another big show. In the outside world, the preliminaries were still in full swing. On Shiyu's side, after he was done with the hatching of the Son of the Star, he immediately ran over to look for President Lin anxiously. At this moment, President Lin was still paying attention to Zhu Yun and the others. He even asked some old friends to give them temporary special training. Although Shiyu passed the preliminaries easily, it was still too difficult for other ordinary level 6 beast tamers. Shiyu didn't rely on pets and broke through the preliminaries himself. This was an extraordinary blow to Jifeng, Jiao Xian, Zhu Yun, and the others. However, they were helpless. They could only comfort themselves with the fact that Shiyu had eaten mythical resources. After all, the resources they used in their lifetime might not even be worth a tenth of the undying fruit. Thinking of this, they forcefully felt relieved. President Lin, is there any news of the resources from the Alliance? Legendary resources, can you give me fire element or undead element resources? In front of Shiyu, President Lin said, didn't we say that we could talk about faculties previously? It's used to strengthen Mu Huain's heroic spirit? President Lin was slightly stunned. It was difficult to imagine that Shiyu's current physique was even stronger than his, a titled legend. After all, he didn't neglect training at all. He instantly understood Shiyu's thoughts. Shiyu's own physique, including his quasi-totem level soul power. If he was possessed by a powerful undead, wouldn't his battle power be even more ridiculous? Totem level battle power? For a moment, President Lin was speechless. It was fine if Shiyu had the 2 totem level battle power, 11 and Buggy, but he actually wanted to strengthen the 3rd totem level battle power. In other words, his and Kai Tong's possession combination. Yes. President Lin's thoughts were actually right. However, there was actually no need to strengthen it anymore. At the moment, the combination of Shiyu and Kai Tong was already quite powerful. Fortunately, the undying fruit had strengthened Shiyu's soul to the quasi-totem level. After combining with Kai Tong, this advantage could be even more obvious. At the moment, the combination of Kai Tong and Shiyu usually also had the battle power of an invincible overlord. If they use several undead puppets as scapegoats to slash out the strongest sword, it would be a proper totem-level sure-kill skill. It's indeed better to have another trump card. I'll ask Senior Divine Source to urge them, President Lin said. In addition, I'll transmit you a piece of information. This is the information on the contestants of the Totem Country that has just been concluded from the 7 countries. Chapter 912, 912 Making Others Have No Way, 3. 912 Making Others Have No Way, 3. Very important. You came at the right time. All right. Shiyu nodded. Shiyu's index immediately received the information. At the same time, President Lin said, According to statistics, there are a total of 99 totem countries participating in this world competition. Including the 7 human countries, there are 106 factions. There are a total of 702 contestants. Among them, there should be 136 beast tamers who have reached level 7. Almost every totem country has a legend beast tamer participating. At the moment, most level 6 beast tamers in the totem country have contracted overlord lives above their level. 70% are low-level overlords of monarch races and overlords, 25% are ordinary overlords, and 5% are top-notch overlord battle power. You don't have to worry too much about this. It shouldn't be very likely for a contestant to threaten you among level 6 beast tamers. What you have to care about is the trump cards of the 9 demigod-level factions in the 99 totem countries. Every one of them is almost an invincible existence among overlords. They have quasi-totem-level battle power, and their battle power is enough to threaten totem-level lives. The Dark Elven Prince of the Dark Night Forest, the Fire Dragon King of the Dragon Empire, the Fallen Angel of the Demon Kingdom, the Infinite Sea Region, the Void Court, the Arctic Icefield, the Eternal Desert, the Ghost Sea. Among them, what you need to pay the most attention to is the Origin Land and the Dragonman Empire. Shiyu was stunned, wondering if he had heard wrongly. The place of origin needed to be taken seriously. He could understand this. This place was actually a totem alliance that surpassed 8 totem countries. It was the largest rainforest and forest area on Blue Planet, and also the area with the richest races. It was a huge faction that was not inferior to Dragon Palace City. It was said that the current demigod, the Origin Tree God, had already undergone 9 reincarnations. Every time it reincarnated, it could stand at the peak of the Origin Land again. It was very normal to value this totem faction, but the Dragonman Empire. The Dragonman Empire was the largest totem country in the vicinity of Dong Huang apart from Dragon Palace City. The commander was the Tyrant Dragon King. Although it was known as the strongest below the demigod level, it wasn't a demigod yet. Therefore, the strength of the Dragonman Empire should be a little different from these true demigod factions. Could it be? Shiyu was stunned. They have totem levels? He quickly mobilized the information on the contestants of the totem country that he had just downloaded. Then, his expression changed. As expected. Yes. President Lin nodded and said, the Origin Land, the Dragonman Empire, these 2 factions seem to have completed contracting totems above their level. The totem of the Origin Land is the Wood and Lightning Dual-Element Thundercrown Rubber Divine Tree, a plant-type life form. And the totem of the Dragonman Empire is the son of the Tyrant Dragon King. It's a Dragonman hybrid, known as the most perfect Dragonman hybrid. The information on their contractor talent is unknown at the moment. It's very secret. But even if you ignore beast tamers, these 2 totems undoubtedly have the strength to crush overlords. They're your great enemy. Whether you can win the championship depends on the outcome of the battle with them. Of course. You also need to take the trump cards of the other demigod factions especially seriously. Each of them is only a step away from the totem level. Previously, they couldn't break through, so they might just be accumulating their foundation. Now that they haven't broken through, they might be worried that their contractors can't withstand it, but if they obtain huge gains in the 7 mythical trials, there might be hope of breaking through to the totem level. At that time, they will also become your great enemy. In fact, it's even more threatening than the 2 totems I mentioned. For example, the son of the Tyrant Dragon King is only known as the most perfect Dragonman hybrid, but the Fallen Angel Prince of the Demon Kingdom is known as the most perfect hybrid. If it breaks through to the totem level, its battle power will probably be close to a top-notch totem. Shiyu nodded. He had also noticed it. For example, the Dark Elven Prince and the Fire Dragon King he had seen a few months ago. Initially, they only had about 90 million energy points, but when Shiyu observed them again in Inatella, he realized that their energy levels were already nearly 100 million. Even the normal energy value of the Fallen Angel with 2 souls had already exceeded 100 million, reaching the same level as 11 and Buggy. These guys completed another round of strengthening before the World Tournament began. It's indeed a little dangerous for them to obtain the inheritance in the mythical trial, Shi Yu said. I wonder what requirements the 7 mythical trials have for the candidates. Looks like I have to get Ling to apply a wind blessing to me. The pet attributes and types in my team are still very comprehensive. They involve various major attributes and major life forms. If I'm lucky enough to participate in all 7 trials, it'll be stable. As long as I round up the 7 mythical trial rewards, the contestants of the other totem countries won't be able to obtain the rewards. If they can't obtain the rewards, they won't be able to become stronger, and they won't be able to threaten me. Shi Yu fell into deep thought. If that was the case, it would be perfect. Taking other people's path left others with no path to take. President Lin. After a moment of silence, President Lin said, "Don't forget, there are still the 7 countries. Among the 7 countries, the trump cards of the various countries, including Yixing, have also been heavily nurtured by the various countries. With all their strength, they might not necessarily lose to the trump cards of these demigod factions. If you want to cover the rewards, the legends of the other 6 countries will probably have to grit their teeth at you." It was better to be a human. It wasn't as easy as he thought. It was impossible for him to use pandas and green dragons to kill all 7 trials. Shi Yu? Chapter 913, 913 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 1. 913 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 1. At this moment, not only did Shi Yu obtain the information of the contestants of the totem country, but the other contestants of the 7 countries also obtained it. The moment they obtained the information, the legendary contestants of Dong Huang and the others were extremely solemn. The background and names of the invincible overlords of these demigod factions alone were very oppressive. Moreover, the Origin Land and the Dragonman Empire were actually suspected to have beast tamers who contracted totems 2 levels higher. What the hell? Could they still play happily together? This world competition is the most ridiculous one I've ever watched. Zheng Hai accompanied his master. The tyrannical sea legend looked at this information and said in a low voice, "Looks like I still underestimated the cruelty of this world competition. Even if you break through to the legend level, it's still filled with danger. Even if I deal with these contestants, including the 2 totems, it might take some effort." Zheng Hai said, "It's all right, I'm a satisfied person. It's fine as long as Yixing and the others can achieve good results on behalf of Dong Huang." Well, it depends on what's going on with this so-called mythical trial inheritance. If it's a test of battle power, it won't have any advantage for most contestants, but if it's a test of other things, there might still be hope. The various totem countries also obtained the information on the legend contestants of the 7 countries. Although various countries kept it a secret, it was impossible not to leave any traces. About 60% of the information could still be detected. Among them, the legend of Dong Huang's army, Yixing, the legend of Shui Yuan's army, Endre, the legend of Shen Feng's army, Qiao Sen, and the Holy Maiden of the Divine Church of Light, Amelia, were all regarded by the totem country as having titled legendary battle power. In other words, with their entire team added together and the beast tamer's beast taming talent, they had the strength to temporarily resist the totem level and could be said to be invincible among overlords. The trump cards of the 7 islands, Minghua, and Tingxiang of the lower 3 countries were relatively weaker in the eyes of the totem countries. This was also because these 3 countries had never entered the top 4 in the first 3 world competitions. However, this world competition was extraordinary after all. The totem country also thought highly of these 3 countries and thought that their trump card had the battle power of an invincible overlord at full strength. And this Shi Yu, apart from the legendary contestants of the 7 countries, the totem countries focused on Shi Yu. However, there was even less information about Shi Yu. Apart from the title of the number 1 person below the legend of Dong Huang and the founder of the mechanical phantom beast, the totem country had not even investigated Shi Yu's pet information. Some totem countries with connections actually only investigated the so-called battle results of the National League. This thing could be used as a reference. The championship was not as valuable as the title of number 1 person below the legend level. But the number 1 person below the legendary level. The various totem countries basically ignored this title in the past. the information on the legendary contestants of the other 7 countries was investigated more comprehensively because the totem country had started investigating very early. As for Shi Yu, his rise was too fast. Previously, he was still unknown. In addition, after becoming famous, the information was protected too well by Dong Huang, so the totem country had no way to start. However, considering the terrifying battle power of Shi Yu's main body and his identity as the strongest archaeologist, not many people dared to underestimate Shi Yu. In addition to his arrogant championship declaration. If he didn't have hard strength, he definitely wouldn't dare to talk nonsense. For the time being, the various totem countries regarded Shi Yu as the legend battle power of the 7 countries' trump cards. Although Shi Yu had yet to reach the legend level. At this moment, Shi Yu still didn't know that he had already been especially valued by the totem country. However, even if he knew, he didn't mind. This was because no matter how the totem country investigated, it was impossible for them to know all his trump cards. Chaos Panda, Green Dragon Buggy, Wind Kirin, Mind Domain, Self-Destruction Ginseng. Go investigate. As for Shi Yu, he didn't believe that there was a Beast Tamers Foundation above his in the totem countries and the 7 countries. The preliminaries were still in full swing. Shi Yu didn't pay attention to Senior Lu, Jiao Xian, and the others. Without thinking, he knew that they were all undergoing temporary special training. After knowing the information about the contestants of the totem country, they naturally had to prepare for battle. It was probably the same for the totem country. The various countries were at odds. It was about the same for him. In the next 2 days of the Shi Yu preliminaries, one was to adjust his state, and the other was to work hard in meditation to see if he could break through to the legend level quickly. Just like that, the preliminaries were coming to an end. On Dong Huang's side, it was very worth celebrating. Be it Jiao Xian, Zhu Yun, or Ji Feng, they passed the preliminaries after 7 days of hard work. Jiao Xian received the guidance of the mechanical legendary. The ultimate holy dragon beast and other mechanical pets completed the fusion evolution and loaded a superscale weapon developed by the mechanical legendary. Only then was he lucky enough to pass the preliminaries. In the end, Ji Feng used the paywall battle strategy every time in accordance with the rules and barely passed the preliminaries with the help of more than 10 battle experience. Zhu Yun had it the most difficult. The financial group that cultivated him was unwilling to see Zhu Yun lose the preliminaries. They invested a lot of money in Dark Element legendary resources. After Zhu Yun's pile of Dark Element pets used them, they obtained the ability to increase their battle power greatly in the night. He worked hard for 7 consecutive nights and only fought in the night every day. Only then did he barely win against a Guardian. It had to be said that major competitions could often stimulate one's potential more. Although the Guardian overlords of the preliminaries had low intelligence and a single battle pattern, and their incomplete life forms weren't real life forms, their battle power was still incomparable to ordinary overlords. And now, it wasn't just Dong Huang. 7 days later, level 6 beast tamers from the other 6 countries also passed the preliminaries through various methods. Chapter 914, 914 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 2. 914 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 2. In the end, including the contestants of the totem country's preliminaries, a total of 120 of the nearly 600 level 6 beast tamers passed the preliminaries. Moreover, more than half of these 120 people had received the rewards of the World Tree. Of course, the best reward was still Shi Yu's World Tree branch liquid. Ever since then, there had been no reward that exceeded the level of the World Tree leaf. This was similar to what President Lin said. Among level 6 beast tamers, there were no contestants that Shi Yu needed to care about. Shi Yu's real enemy was still the trump card of those demigod factions. After the preliminaries ended, President Lin immediately informed Shi Yu that the resources rewarded by the archaeological conference had arrived. Shi Yu stopped cultivating. He was still a little far from level 7. He couldn't help but feel that it was a pity, but when he heard that the resources had arrived, he was immediately overjoyed. Shi Yu came out of the ruins and came to President Lin. 2 mythical resources. They're the World Tree Fruit and the Soul Pearl. There are also 2 legendary resources. They're the undead element Spirit World Fragment, Fire Element Hollow Flame. Spirit World Fragment, Space Crystal Flame? Shiyu looked at President Lin and asked, "What are these?" Shiyu naturally knew what the World Tree Fruit and the Soul Pearl were. However, Shiyu was very surprised by the two legendary resources President Lin brought. He vaguely remembered that it seemed to be a spatial resource. He didn't know if he remembered wrongly. These two resources can be said to have been specially found for you. President Lin smiled and said, "The Spirit World Fragment is actually a spatial fragment of a ruin called the Spirit World. This ruin is at the mythical stage. It shattered for unknown reasons, and a total of 7 core fragments were separated. Every one of them is a legendary resource. After refining it, it can allow the soul attack of undead-type creatures to have its own tearing effect and increase spatial attainments. Apart from that, it can also give undead-type creatures the physique to travel through space. You often explore ruins and mystic realms. Resources with spatial effects are more useful to you. The Heart Flame is also a similar resource. After refining it, not only can it strengthen fire element power, but it can also increase the user's spatial attainments, allowing its fire moves to burn the spatial crystal wall more easily. It's considered a spatial element strange fire seed. I remember that General Mu Huain's heroic spirit is proficient in mastering the power of the soul and the sun, but it's not proficient in spatial power. Indeed. Shiyu nodded. Against spatial enemies, he was already used to using 11 or buggy. As for the other pets, they basically relied on equipment or brute force. For example, if Kai Tong wanted to crush a spatial pet, it just had to possess a hardened iron sword enchanted with the Spacequake effect. It was enough to kill indiscriminately. Therefore, he didn't let them specialize in spatial power cultivation. It was mainly because there was a shortage of skill bars at the moment. Shiyu couldn't let every pet take care of everything. When it reached the totem level, it could optimize his skills itself. Next is the Ruins Trial. Let Mu Huain's heroic spirit refine it and take a look. Even if it can only refine 10% of its strength, it's not bad. I'll also give you the World Tree Fruit. Use it if you can. It can be used to increase the skill proficiency of the Chaos Panda and the Green Dragon. Although they're powerful, they've just evolved. Their racial skill proficiency is still too low. It might become their shortcoming in fighting other invincible overlords and even totems. As for the Soul Pearl, according to you, it'll be safeguarded at the Dong Huang Association first. All right. As President Lin and Shiyu chatted, the change in the sky of Inatella Island happened quietly. On the island, countless green worms flew into the sky and gathered. Under the combination, a gorgeous green eagle was born. Right on the heels of that, an eagle cry that shook the forest and stopped the clouds suddenly appeared. Buzz! Under the cry of the eagle, Shiyu and President Lin felt the surrounding space tremble. It's the World Tree clone. Seeing this, President Lin and Shiyu looked up. Don't tell me the mythical trial is about to begin so soon, Shiyu said. The preliminaries had just ended less than 2 hours ago. Wasn't this giving them merely 2 days to prepare? However, just as Shiyu and the others thought, the green eagle flew in the air and circled for a while. After attracting the attention of all the lives on Inatella Island, its voice sounded again. The mythical trial is about to begin. All contestants of the World Tournament, head to the location of the Fire Element Arena during the preliminaries. I will awaken the divine-level creature of the mythical era, the Boar God, here. The first mythical trial will be set by the Boar God. Boar God. At this moment, the hundreds of factions on Inatella Island were stunned. They had never heard of this name. Although the mythical era had ended, because humans in the future had never given up on archaeology, the later generation still had a little understanding of the mythical era. For example, the dragon, phoenix, and Kirin were the 3 mythical races in the East. These were all known to people. However, countless archaeologists and legendary demigod experts present had never heard of what kind of god the Boar God was. Isn't the Fire Element Arena Dong Huang's side? Shiyu said. President Lin nodded and said, yes. Dong Huang was already in a heated discussion. Although they didn't know what kind of god the boar god was, everyone took a deep breath and understood. A divine beast that had existed since the mythical era was about to be awakened by the World Tree. They were going to see a true god. This world competition was not in vain. Chapter 9:15 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 3. 9:15 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 3. What will a real god look like? The demigod legendaries in the alternate space opened their eyes and looked in the direction of the fire arena. At this moment, the Green Eagle continued, the boar god is a fire element god. In the mythical era, it once destroyed countless space worms and made them into food to share with the gods. It gave them a taste of their own medicine. It's very powerful. Holy shit! When the World Tree clone finished speaking, not only were the lives of the various countries stunned, but even Shiyu was slightly stunned. They had seen the Wind Karin's dream. Even the Wind Karin had to escape from the hunt of the space worms. This boar god actually made the space worm into food? Although the Wind Karin was only a cub and the laws it mastered were not good at battle, the strength of the space worm was definitely very strong. This boar god could survive until the end of the invasion war and use the invaders as food. Obviously, it was strong to the point of explosion. This boar god must be the main battle power in that war. It's just... I wonder what form its inheritance will take. Everyone discussed. At the same time, the fire arena where the fire python overlord previously existed buzzed and vibrated. The surrounding space was directly red. Boom! In an instant, the entire fire element arena instantly turned to ashes. The shocking red light seemed to have burned through this space, causing another space to descend into the world. At this moment, on the ground in the entire outside world, spiral flames directly formed a domain in a large area. Under the burning of the void in the center, a huge figure dozens of meters tall slowly formed. Dong! The moment its figure was outlined, it was as if the island had trembled, and an incomparably deep sound of laws appeared. The spatial power and natural power on the island were all suppressed. Even the demigods in the alternate space felt the violent vibration around them. Moreover, it was as if their necks were being strangled. It was very difficult to breathe, and they felt their bodies heat up. This law strength, the demigods were extremely shocked. Legendary beast tamers' gazes were solemn to the extreme. This was the first time in their lives that they had felt such a terrifying pressure. This boar god gave them a feeling that although the strength in the other party's body was very weak, if they fought, they would also be in extreme danger. Swoosh! Under the sound of laws, all the creatures on the island, including Shiyu and the demigods who could be called mythical races, felt the suppression from their realms. As the voice echoed, when the living beings present reacted again, the entire island had already become a fiery red world. The sky and ground had all turned red. I slept for a long time. In the center of the flames, the full appearance of a huge creature appeared in the flames. It had a humanoid body. Its legs, abdomen, and arms were filled with black muscles. A few messy dark red bristles stained its body, forming fire-like patterns. Its head shocked many factions, because it was a pig head. Although its face had demon-like fire patterns and its long fangs were filled with deterrence, its iconic pig nose made people recognize its race at a glance. Among the many totem countries, an inconspicuous group of pig-headed people stretched out their arms with trembling bodies and looked at the huge monster. No one expected that the very powerful boar god in the mouth of the World Tree clone was actually a god similar to a pigman. Lord Boar God, according to the agreement, I'll leave the rest to you. At this moment, in the sky, the green World Tree giant eagle faced the boar god. I understand, little guy. The boar god glanced at the green eagle and said loudly. The conversation between the World Tree clone and the boar god shocked everyone again. Wait a minute, wasn't the World Tree the clone of Blue Planet's will? Logically speaking, shouldn't its status be very high? Even if it was a god from the mythical era, it should have been born on Blue Planet. Everyone kept feeling that there were secrets they didn't know. The boar god looked at the World Tree clone. The others didn't know, but as a batch of gods who had made a deal with the will of Blue Planet and were sleeping in Inatella, how could it not know? Although the World Tree was said to be a clone of Blue Planet, it was actually just a spokesperson created by Blue Planet to accelerate the revival of the mythical stage. Compared to a clone, it was more like a child who had inherited some of Blue Planet's will and power. In terms of status, it was just a junior of their group of divine beasts that had experienced the invasion war. After all, if it weren't for them protecting Blue Planet together, Blue Planet would have long been completely destroyed, and the World Tree wouldn't have been born. Are these the so-called human beast tamers? At this moment, the Borg god looked at the 100,000 lives surrounding it and at the demigod experts hidden in the alternate space, revealing an interested expression. Its huge fangs revealed light, and its red eyes revealed curiosity. Because it had slept for a long time, the power in its body was already very weak, equivalent to the Overlord level. Because the laws of the world were incomplete, its divine skill had fallen to a quasi-divine skill. However, the pressure it gave the outside world was still very powerful. After all, with the blood of a god, even a demigod couldn't determine the strength of this Borg god at this moment. Raw, a weak hot wind blew from its mouth. After sweeping its gaze, it said, compared to other things, it's indeed better to look at strength. Chapter 916, 916 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 4. 916 Beginning of the Mythical Trial, 4. The huge Borg god raised its thick arm. White flames condensed and gradually formed a flaming saber. On the saber that was dozens of meters long, white flames that looked like liquid started rising with layers of life aura, spreading a shocking vitality. Boom! The flame blade was stabbed into the ground by the Borg god. At this moment, all the demigods were shocked. Because this move of the Borg god completely defeated them. In terms of control over the power of the natural order, they were completely inferior to this Borg god. The other party actually casually condensed a fire blade suspected to be a mythical resource that contained quasi-power of the natural order. Next, here. With humans as the main body, you can only send fire element creatures to battle. You guys will decide the strongest. The strongest can obtain my former weapon. It contains the law of life. It's called the Spirit Ascension Blade. With a slash, it can make a dead object give birth to a soul, turn a seed into a divine plant, and let the soul shape the body. It was my weapon at that time. Although it's already broken, it's still a rare treasure for creatures who have never mastered a divine skill. Come, let me see your strength. Who can take away the flame blade that contains the law of life and take away the life fire? It laughed and looked at the many lives. Mythical resources. At this moment, all the beast tamers with fire element pets in the 7 countries felt their hearts heat up. The eyes of all the fire element overlords of the totem countries were filled with heat. Even the totems and demigods leading the teams looked at this spirit ascending saber with fanaticism. Without a doubt, this was a mythical resource that had a huge increase in effect even for demigods. The value of this resource was even worth a totem changing its attributes and evolving towards the fire element for it. I, Punkham, want this resource. At this moment, the heir of the Dragon Empire, the Fire Dragon King, who thought that it was the strongest fire element creature in this world competition, had greedy flames in its dragon eyes. Ha 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 ha, the heavens were helping it. He didn't expect that the first mythical trial required fire element creatures. The strongest fire element? Wasn't this referring to it? The totems of the origin land were wood and lightning dual element. The son of the tyrant dragon king of the Dragonman Empire was a pure dragon element. The dragon element contained some wood and water properties, not fire dragons, but evolution towards the green dragon. Neither of these two totems was qualified to compete. Yixing mainly cultivated the power of the stars, and his pets' attributes were spread across various elements. Although there were fire element pets that cultivated the power of the sun, they weren't trump cards. They were definitely not its match. Shui Yuan's Andres was an ice element pet, Shen Feng's Qiao Sen was a mechanic, and Rongguang's Amelia was also a light element pet. The trump cards of the other demigod factions didn't major in fire either. The Dark Night Forest and the Demon Kingdom were dark element, the Endless Sea region was water element, the Ghost Sea was undead element, the Arctic ice field was ice element, the Void Court was spatial element, and the Eternal Desert was earth element. From the looks of it, no one could compete with it at all. Ha 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 ha. It had the strength of an invincible overlord. Coupled with the armored transformation talent of its contracted servant, it was definitely invincible among overlords and fire element creatures. Even if this live fire didn't look like something that could increase its battle power in the short term, as long as it obtained this world competition wouldn't be a loss. Even if it couldn't win the final championship, it wouldn't be a loss. This could at least ensure that it stepped onto the path of a god after the mythical revival. This was clearly the inheritance of this boar god. Holy shit, fire element! At the same time, the Flametime King was as excited as the Flame Dragon King. Hee 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 hee. Excited laughter also came from beside President Lin's side. Shiyu's eyes burned with flames as he said, "Fire element is good, fire element is good. What a good start. This, I can give it to Kai Tong too. Otherwise, it'll say that I'm biased every day." He and Kai Tong cooperated. No matter what, they had to take this resource. Mine, it was all mine. Chapter 917 Kill until no one dares to fight, 1. 917 Kill until no one dares to fight, 1. After the boar's words, all the fire element creatures were extremely excited. All the non-fire element creatures and beast tamers' expressions darkened. As expected. Just as the World Tree clone had said, these divine-level life forms actually restricted their attributes when choosing heirs. Shit! Why does it have to be fire element? The tree sprite of the Thunder Crown Rubber Divine Tree. The Green Dragon Prince of the Dragonman Empire's gaze froze, revealing a dissatisfied gaze. They were at the totem level. They had a huge advantage in the World Tournament, and there was a high chance of them finally obtaining the blessings of the World Tree. But if other contestants obtained the inheritance in the 7 mythical trials and broke through, their advantage would disappear. This living fire that contained the laws of life was clearly a good thing. Seeing others obtain it was even more uncomfortable than losing resources. Fire element. However, after the fire element creatures were excited, they quickly calmed down. Among the 106 factions present, there were actually many fire element overlords. Among them, even after cooperating with the beast tamer, there were many fire element creatures with the strength of top-notch overlords. But at this moment, their hearts were no longer as hot as flames. They looked in the direction of the Dragon Empire, at the domineering Fire Dragon King. They looked in the direction of the Lava Empire, at the powerful and domineering Lava Beast. These 2 fire element creatures should be the strongest among them. The Dragon Empire was a demigod-level faction. As its heir, the Fire Dragon King's strength was naturally without a doubt. As for the Lava Empire, it was located in the largest volcano on Blue Planet and had a rich foundation. There were many lava countries, including a lava country near the 7 Islands. However, there was only one Lava Empire. Their territory was larger, their race was stronger, and it was even the only lava nation that cultivated and raised humans. Commanders, like the Tyrant Dragon King, were close to demigods. At this moment, the Lava Beast of the Lava Empire also stood on the ground and looked at the live fire with a burning gaze. Boom! Be it the Fire Dragon King or it, there was a shocking deterrent eruption on their bodies. It had actually reached transcendent. Seeing them, the hearts of the other fire element overlords immediately felt like they had been doused with cold water. These 2 were recognized as strong in the various totem countries. How could they compete with them? Wait! Was there a chance to watch from the sidelines? Let the Fire Dragon King and the Lava Beast fight first and wait for both of them to suffer? Many fire element creatures had this thought. Otherwise, directly fighting and competing with them was no different from courting death. The chances of victory were too small. Yixing. In the Donghuang area, Divine Bell shouted for Yixing. As for Yixing, he shook his head. My Red Sun Rock, together with my beast-taming talent, is already at the limit to fight top-notch overlords. The chances of defeating them with a single pet are very small. After a moment of silence, Divine Bell said, my Fire Plume fan is the same. Although she was a descendant of a mechanical legendary, Divine Belle's beast-taming talent was very strange. That was, the more ancient the contracted pet, the stronger the power it could display. Therefore, she basically contracted some antique sword-type undead. However, she was not very interested in archaeology. With her identity, she could obtain such a pet as long as she made a request. There was no need to search for it herself. Jie Yi. In the direction of the Seven Islands, Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court was also extremely silent. Beside her, Legend Jisrong of the Phoenix Court pressed her shoulder and let her watch for the time being. It was very difficult for a young man who had just broken through to the legend level to compete for that living fire. At this moment, everyone was extremely afraid. The rules of this mythical trial were very simple, to the point of being simple and crude. Whoever was the strongest fire element would obtain the living fire. However, it was such a rough rule that made many fire element overlords and fire element beast tamers' heads hurt. It was better to do some complicated trials that tested talent or potential. Comparing battle power, was that appropriate? Wasn't this clearly not giving anyone a chance? No one? At this moment, a huge square fire domain was formed on the red ground under the boar god's feet. The flames that rose surrounded a fire arena. It said, those who are confident in their strength can come and defend the arena. There's no need to worry about consumption. As long as you obtain a victory, I'll bathe your entire bodies in this life spirit fire, producing the firepower you consume and the injuries you suffer. Before sunset, you can finally obtain this life spirit fire in this domain. The process of bathing in the life fire is also the process of strengthening yourself. Therefore, even if you can't stand to the end, as long as you win a battle, you can also be strengthened. The premise is that you can survive the next battle. Similarly, if you clearly have strength but don't come up for a long time, this fire will decrease greatly under continuous consumption. Even after obtaining it, it won't be complete. So if any of you are interested, come up quickly. Stop dawdling. The mythical boar fell. Everyone's hearts tightened. This was clearly not comfortable. President Lin, my luck is pretty good. I'll win this trial. I'll go first. If I don't go soon, I'll be used by others. At this moment, Shiyu stared at the boar god, the life fire, and the fire venue and smiled. Shiyu, you? Although your strength is very strong after Mu Huayin's heroic spirit possesses you, won't it be a little risky? After all, it's only at the monarch level. Chapter 918, 918 Kill until no one dares to fight, 2. 918 Kill until no one dares to fight, 2. It's all right. At the same time, on President Lin's side, his heart tightened as he looked at Shiyu, who flew to the fire arena without thinking. Shiyu had gone to defend the arena. As for Shiyu's fire element pet, Kai Tong seemed to be the only one. Kai Tong was only at the monarch level. Although after possessing Shiyu, it might have battle power comparable to an invincible overlord, the burden would definitely be very high. It would probably be very difficult to resist an invincible overlord like the Fire Dragon King. Moreover, the Fire Dragon King also had a beast tamer. Was it really all right to be the first to defend the arena just like that? From Shiyu's anxious appearance, it seemed like he was afraid that others would use some of his life fire. No problem. As Shiyu flew, his heart was firm. The boar god had said it. It was a fire element battle with human beast tamers as the main body. In other words, if a human beast tamer contracted 7 fire element creatures, 7 could be used in battle. Others might not know, but Shiyu knew that baby ginseng had also obtained a weak fire attribute after evolution. Although it was the last attribute, it indeed had a fire body. In other words, he could use Kai Tong and baby ginseng as 2 pets. In such a situation, regardless of whether it was the Fire Dragon King or the Lava Beast, even if it was at the totem level, Kai Tong, baby ginseng, and his own combination might be able to fight. Since the attributes matched him, he had to take this trial. Living fire. The law of life? Not bad. When Kai Tong's few undead skills were trained to the extreme, it might be able to touch the law of death. With another law of life, it would be the great Tao of life and death. In fact, Shiyu felt that there was no need for the fake fire element ginseng baby. As long as the opponent wasn't a totem, he and Kai Tong could kill indiscriminately. After the boar god said this, both the Fire Dragon King and the Lava Beast couldn't sit still anymore. They planned to be the first to go up and defend the arena. However, the fire arena was the closest to Dong Huang after all. One person's speed was faster than the others. Everyone looked at the human figure flying under the psychic wrap in shock. He was wearing a dark red trench coat, and his clothes and short hair fluttered in the wind. That familiar face immediately reminded the people of the various factions of the figure who shamelessly announced the championship declaration in the preliminaries. "I will become a new world legend." This kid wasn't just saying. In the mythical trial of battle power, he really dared to be the first to stand out, as if he could really defeat those invincible overlords. Shiyu? Shiyu, he? At this moment, as Shiyu flew to the arena and slowly landed in the fire arena, he raised his head and looked at the boar god. Everyone was shocked. Even the World Tree clone immediately looked at Shiyu in silence. This kid. If it remembered correctly, Shiyu's bear and dragon were indeed very strong, but fire element. His fire element pet seemed to only be at the monarch level. How did he dare to accept this mythical trial? The relationship between the totem countries and the 7 countries had always been incompatible. In this competition, it was impossible to hold back. If anything went wrong, he would die. Although Shiyu might not be afraid of death. Shiyu, at this moment, as Shiyu appeared, Senior Panda, White Brook, and the others' expressions turned cold. No outsider knew that baby ginseng had evolved into a fire element. Therefore, in everyone's impression, Shiyu only had Kai Tong's fire element. The advantage of the beast tamers of the 7 countries was to contract multiple pets. At this moment, Shiyu clearly didn't have this advantage. What could he use to compete with the beast tamers of the totem country who specialized in cultivating overlords one-on-one? It shouldn't become a problem, right? Lu Qingyi took a deep breath. She felt that Shiyu didn't seem to be someone who would attack when he wasn't confident. In addition, even if the opponent was a totem country, they shouldn't kill Shiyu. After all, if Shiyu died, no one would have an easy time. It's that human archaeologist. In the alternate space, the demigod's gazes were deep, while the legendaries of the 7 countries suddenly frowned. Even if it was the divine source legendary, it was the same. He acknowledged the strength of the chaotic panda and the green dragon, but he really didn't know much about Kai Tong. General Mu Huain's heroic spirit reincarnation sounded very powerful. But which demigod faction's heir didn't have title battle power at this moment? Was Shiyu really that confident? At that moment, Shiyu stood on the arena, surprising the boar god. It said, "I thought humans didn't have transcendent abilities, but it turns out that they can use psychic power." "Forget it, then let me see your strength." Shiyu smiled and said, "A hybrid human has some transcendent abilities, but I'm not a hybrid. I'm using psychic power developed with special resources." With that said, he looked around. To be honest, Shiyu didn't want to fight a tag battle. Even if it was himself, Shiyu didn't want to consume some life fire first. He wanted to take back the complete life fire and keep it for research. Therefore, in order to avoid endless challenges, just as Shiyu arrived, he said to everyone, "Sorry, I want this life fire. I hope everyone can give me face. Swords have no eyes. I can't guarantee that the challenger, especially the challenger of the totem countries, can end the battle alive." Boom! With that said, a spiritual wave comparable to an overlord bloomed from Shiyu's body, making everyone's heart skip a beat. They were shocked by Shiyu's words. The fire element overlords of the totem country instantly revealed anger. Chapter 919 Kill until no one dares to fight, 3. 919 Kill until no one dares to fight, 3. Was this human threatening them? At this moment, all the fire element overlords with battle power above top-notch overlords, especially the Lava Beast and the Fire Dragon King, had mocking smiles on their faces. This human had only eaten one undying fruit. Wasn't he too arrogant? Did he really think that no one dared to kill him? So what if a human revived into a totem? It was just the weakest totem. For invincible overlords like them who could resist ordinary totems, resisting was really not a problem. At this moment, after Shiyu went up, many top-notch overlords were tempted. Although Shiyu had defeated a top-notch overlord alone, the Guardian Overlord of the preliminaries was only the weakest top-notch overlord. Many of the overlords present had the will of overlords, energy values above 80 million, and the enhancement of beast tamers. They were confident that they could instantly kill the Guardian Overlord of the preliminaries. Therefore, when they saw Shiyu appear, they wanted to meet him first. At least this guy was much easier to deal with than invincible overlords like the Fire Dragon King. As long as they could freeload on the Flame of Life once, it wouldn't be a loss. At most, when they encountered stronger experts next, they would directly admit defeat. At the thought of this, many fire element creatures jumped up excitedly. In the west, an undying bird covered in blue flames suddenly flew towards the arena. In the south, a lion covered in flames ran towards the arena. They all had a young beast tamer on them, but their master and servant identities were obvious. Shiyu looked at these overlords, and his heart turned solemn. Their energy levels were all above 80 million. There was also the will of overlords, and even legend beast tamer servants. Their energy levels could probably easily erupt to more than 100 million. No wonder they dared to challenge him. However, roar! Like Shiyu, the Flame Dragon King, Punkham, also soared into the sky. At the same time, a transcendent-level dragon might envelop the sky and earth and directly crushed the undying bird and the holy flame lion. Obviously, it didn't want anyone to beat it to it. It wanted to use its life fire first. Both Shiyu and the Fire Dragon King wanted to obtain the complete life fire. Therefore, it was impossible for them to let others determine the winner on the arena first, even if it was just taking a bit of life fire. Name the Fire Dragon King. Attributes: Dragon, Fire. Level of growth: Overlord. Energy points: 96,990,000. Compared to the power of the Undying Bird and the Holy Flame Lion, the dragon power of the Fire Dragon King was clearly more violent. Under the envelopment of its dragon might, the expressions of the Undying Bird, the Holy Flame Lion, and their contractors changed, and their movements instantly froze. Their movements froze for a moment, and they couldn't move forward at high speed anymore. Because their rationality told them that if they continued forward, they might be waiting for the Fire Dragon King to attack first. Boom! The dragon might of the Flame Dragon King, the heir of the demigod faction, the Dragon Empire, enveloped the world. Its strong body seemed to be made of tempered red steel. Its scales were like molten iron watered by flames, and the color was dark red and golden. Its entire body was extremely hot, and the end of its dragon tail was even burning with dragon flames. Not only its body, its neck, head, long tail, sharp claws, and fangs, its strong feet, as well as its pair of fire wings, were all extremely domineering images. Just looking at them, they contained supreme power. Roar! In the distance, the Fire Dragon King flew over. On its body, a man in red armor was like an unconscious puppet. As the Fire Dragon King arrived, he actually turned into a red light and fused into the Fire Dragon King's body. Buzz! In an instant, a layer of reddish-brown armor appeared on the already very strong body of the Fire Dragon King. Moreover, the aura of the Fire Dragon King rose steadily, reaching an even more ridiculous height. Energy points? Shiyu looked at the flying Fire Dragon King with a burning gaze. He was very impressed by the Dragon Empire's technology of nurturing hybrid humans. This legendary servant of the Fire Dragon King could actually transform into battle armor and equip the Fire Dragon King's body. As for the beast tamer of the Thunder Dragon General, he had the reverse fusion talent. He could also integrate himself into the Thunder Dragon's body. They were all beasts as the main body. If we want to defeat this guy, we might have to pay a relatively high price. However, at the same time, as long as we defeat this guy, the cost will be made up. Since this Fire Dragon King was unwilling to give him face, Shiyu would not show mercy. Boom! The Fire Dragon King in huge armor landed on the fire arena. At this moment, the Boar God narrowed its eyes and looked at the Flame Dragon King. Dragon race. Also, is this the beast taming talent? It's indeed very interesting. You're very strong. Even the god from the mythical era praised the Overlord-level Flame Dragon King when it saw its aura. In the mythical era, not all of them were mythical creatures. At that time, there were also many overlords, monarchs, and even commanders and transcendent. In the eyes of the Boar God, the current state of the Fire Dragon King was considered the second tier of the Overlord level even in the mythical era. As for the first tier, it was those mythical race overlords. After all, the laws of the mythical era were very complete. And now, this Fire Dragon King could achieve such an achievement in the era before the mythical era revived. In the eyes of the Boar God, its talent was indeed all right. Chapter 920, a 920 kill until no one dares to fight, 4. 920 kill until no one dares to fight, 4. In comparison, apart from psychic power, that human who could use psychic power had yet to show anything special. He wondered what his contracted creature looked like. Flame Dragon King. Punkham. When the Fire Dragon King ascended the arena and finished looking at Shiyu, the expressions of the beast tamers from all over Dong Huang froze as they looked at the two parties facing each other solemnly. The expressions of the Dragon Empire's great enemy, Tingxiang, and Dragon Palace City, also suddenly darkened. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Boom! Compared to the tiny Shiyu, the aura of the Fire Dragon King was incomparably terrifying, like an erupting volcano. This made the lava beast in the distance fall silent. To be honest, it wasn't confident of defeating this guy. The Fire Dragon King of the Dragon Empire was undoubtedly very powerful. However, even in the face of such a powerful Fire Dragon King, Shiyu stood in the sea of fire without moving at all. Under the gaze of thousands of gazes, he looked at the Fire Dragon King and said, "I've already reminded you. I believe you've already realized it before coming up." Ooh? Flame shot out of the Fire Dragon King's huge nostrils, and its fiery red dragon eyes looked at Shiyu in disdain. "Kid, are you serious? Did you have some misunderstanding about your strength?" "Idiot." At this moment, on the Demon Kingdom's side, the fallen angel Aldrich said in a low voice. As for Shiyu, he felt that he had yet to reveal his strength. Back then, the dragon might displayed by Shiyu when he looked at him was much more terrifying than the dragon might of the Fire Dragon King in Aldrich's opinion. He still didn't know what was going on with that dragon might. Although that didn't look like a fire element dragon might, there must be a reason why an expert like Shiyu dared to stand out. If the Fire Dragon King was careless, it would definitely suffer greatly. Back then, Shiyu and Aldrich looked at each other, and he used the Green Dragon domain to connect to Buggy's mind at the same time. It was indeed powerful. As for now, since the Boar God wanted a fire element battle, it would be a fire element battle. Unfortunately, I'm very clear about my strength. Shiyu sensed the Flame Dragon King's current state and said very calmly. Weaker than 11, weaker than Buggy. Much weaker. In that case, Kai Tong. Shiyu said directly. Right on the heels of that, a purple summoning array surrounded by orange flames appeared beside Shiyu. Shiyu stretched out his hand and directly reached for the summoning array. Then, he slowly pulled it out in the air. A shocking heatwave spewed out, and a red divine sword was slowly pulled out of the beast-taming space and appeared in Shiyu's hand. Holy shit, he's only a level 6 beast-tamer. Seeing the color of Shiyu's summoning array, many people were stunned. Initially, be it the 7 countries or the totem countries, they thought that Shiyu was so brave because he had used the World Tree Branch liquid to break through to the legend level. In the end, after seeing the color of Shiyu's summoning array, everyone realized that this kid was still a level 6 beast tamer. Not to mention the other factions, even Dong Huang was stunned. That was because it wasn't just Shiyu's level. The level of the pet Shiyu summoned also made them rather speechless. The sword spirit that was slowly pulled out by Shiyu. It was a fire element and undead element pet. The overlords and totems present were very certain that they had sensed correctly. from the energy fluctuations, Monarch level. The fire sword spirit in Shiyu's hand was only a Monarch level life fluctuation. If I remember correctly, Shiyu only has one fire element sword spirit. The other pets aren't fire element. In other words, this guy plans to rely on a Monarch level sword spirit to fight the invincible Dragon King with the support of a legend beast tamer. What a joke! At this moment, the beast tamers of the 7 countries who were familiar with Shiyu's information were stunned. Even if Shiyu's main battle power was very strong because he had eaten the undying fruit, they really couldn't imagine how a combination of a level 6 beast tamer and a Monarch level fire element pet could defeat a combination of a level 7 legend beast tamer and an invincible dragon element overlord. The boar god was similarly puzzled. It could also clearly sense that Shiyu and the others were much weaker in terms of levels. Want to fight above his level? It wasn't impossible for geniuses to beat normal powerful people. However, the Fire Dragon King opposite was also a top-notch genius. Who? At that moment, the Fire Dragon King wanted to laugh the most. It originally thought that Shiyu had broken through to the legend level, but this guy was only a level 6 beast tamer. Divine Source, what is your kid trying to do? The legendaries of the other 6 countries panicked when they saw Shiyu go up to fight the Fire Dragon King just like that. Especially countries like Shenfeng. After all, Shiyu had agreed to share the mechanical phantom beast system after the world tournament ended. If Shiyu died in the world competition, would this promise still be effective? I'm not sure, but believe him, Divine Source said silently. Shiyu's main body was so strong. In theory, after the undead possessed him, he couldn't be weak. However, because he didn't know Kai Tong's strength and the opponent was too strong, Divine Source wasn't very confident at this moment. Kid, I'll let you see the difference clearly. Roar! Without hesitation, the Fire Dragon King directly attacked. First was deterrence. Punkham opened his mouth and suddenly let out a dragon roar that resounded throughout Inatella. A huge dragon roar swept up the dragon might, almost making all lives below the totem level cover their ears, their hearts trembling.